I'd like to share something that helps me mentally when dealing with evil, malignant people. I mean, I've only been utilizing this tool for a day now, but it's helping. I need to have, or I don't need, but it helps me to have mental imagery, pictures, if you will. It just helps me to identify and define things when I have a clear mental picture of it, a clear image, something that my imagination can hang on to. And I've been meditating on this for a while, this question of, and the question is this: what exactly does a malignant narcissist spirit man, his darkened, defiled, polluted spirit, what does it look like? What would it look like in this dimension, in 3D, in the material? We're dealing with spiritual things. They're very difficult. They're abstract. They're very difficult to give what we would consider concrete definitions to. So it's very hard to describe things like what a spirit looks like. But I've been meditating on this, thinking about it for a while, praying about it, and I would just like to share my opinion. It's just an opinion. I have no concrete evidence of this at all. But it does seem to agree with me in my own spirit. What does the spirit of an evil person look like in this dimension? Versus what a spirit in a man or woman of light, and by that I mean someone who is connected to their conscience, their moral compass. What does that spirit look like? I know they're different. I know there's a vast difference between a spirit of light, a spirit that is still aflame with conscience, and a darkened spirit, the spirit of a man or woman who has rejected God, rejected truth, rejected light. Both of these dynamics have incalculable, eternal ramifications. Well, I'll tell you what I think. I think, now again, this is in our limited dimension, the 3D, the physical. I believe the spirit of a man who for years and years has neglected that spirit, refused his spirit any opportunity of expression other than darkness, never feeds it, never feeds his spirit on spiritual food, never acknowledges his spirit even exists. Most narcissists would probably don't even know they are a spirit. rejects his conscience, is willful, does what his will demands, not what his spirit desires and craves. He's not led by his spirit, he's led by his flesh. What does that spirit look like? Does it affect the appearance of that spirit? Oh, it does. I believe the spirit of a man or woman who is sensitive to their conscience and their inner being is filled with light. Like the sun. I believe our spirits look very similar to our physical earthly body in form, in the 3D. I believe our spirits retain a shape very similar, if not exactly like our bodies, legs, arms, torso, head, etc. Eyes, ears. But there's a radiance about it. There's a beauty about it. I envision in my mind's eye almost our spirits are, there's rays of beautiful colors and light, like a rainbow or a prism shooting out from our inner being. And tremendous light. I think of the passage of Scripture in Matthew 17, that passage that describes what many call the transfiguration of Yeshua on the Mount of Transfiguration, where his physical body took upon itself the appearance of what I believe was his inner being. And we read that his face shined so greatly you couldn't look on it. His face shined more powerfully than the sun. I think that's what our spirits look like, those of us who are spiritually alive. In the 3D, that's what our spirit man looks like. Powerful. Those of us who have acknowledged our spirit man, those of us who endeavored to follow our spirit man, to nourish our spirit man, and to give expression. That is so important. Give expression in this dimension to our spirit man. Now please remember this. You don't have a spirit. No, you are a spirit. It's not something you possess. No, your spirit is the possessor of your mind. Your spirit is the possessor of this physical flesh, this body. This earth suit. This earth suit has been called a temple, a housing of the Spirit. The monster that abused you, and I don't use that term monster as a metaphor. I am speaking literally. Malignant narcissists are monsters, and they look the part on the inside. At the risk of being called a kook, that's fine. I'm just giving you an opinion. But I believe the spirit man of a malignant narc, abusive monster, looks very much, uncannily much like what the world calls the Greys. Have you ever heard of that? The Greys? Those aliens? That's what people in the world refer to Greys as, those alien beings. They've been around forever. There are ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs of beings that look like what are called Greys. If you read material regarding Area 51 and things like that, there's a belief among many, there's an entire community that believes that our government has in its custody alien beings that are in the shape and form of the Grey. I'm sure you've seen it. Everyone is familiar with this. The giant head, the tiny, emaciated, spinely, weak, frail-looking body, and the large, intimidating-looking black eyes. Am I missing anything else? I think that's a pretty good description. If you see a Grey, you're looking at a fairly accurate depiction in this dimension of what the spirit being of a wicked man actually looks like. They look like Greys. I'm not trying. I am serious. I believe this with my spirit bears witness too. That's what they look like inside. Grey. Even their name, they're Grey. There's no light in them. Just death. To me, the giant head represents their giant ego, head knowledge, mindfulness, willfulness, big head. But their spiritual body is emaciated. It looks like those horrific images we've seen from the Holocaust. Yeah. That's what their spirit looks like. That's the creature that attempted to dominate us. Is it anyone? If this is true, if what I'm saying is true, I'm not prepared. I'm not going to be dogmatic about this. I'm not going to say this is the truth. I don't know.
It's a fun way to think about it, though.
It does give you a point of reference, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. This gives you a point of reference, mentally at least. Instead of this abstract energy, which it is energy.
I believe everybody has a little good in them.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Everybody has a little good in them. No, they don't. Not everybody has a little good in them. I'm glad you brought that up. Not everybody has a little good in them. There are some people whose inner being is filled to the brim with dark. Filled to the brim. There's no light in them. Nothing. I believe this is a good mental point of reference. Just to help me understand what the heck I'm dealing with here. They're ugly on the inside. In fact, I will be honest, I get the sense in my own inner being that they are even uglier than the those image we see of the alien grays. I think they're even uglier than that, even more hideous. Even more hideous than that, but at least this is a point of reference. Oh, and is it any wonder that they hate us so much? That they come after people of light, especially when we were young children and defenseless. That these grays, and yeah, I call them that anymore, that these grays see this glorious light coming out of us. And is it any wonder that they become they're overcome with envy, with jealousy, with rage, much like Cain was with Abel? Is it any wonder something that hideous beholding a child with something so glorious inside? Is it any wonder that they sought to destroy you? So I just offer this to you as a tool, a mental tool, something to assist in our visually.
Visual aid.
Yeah, a visual aid. Thank you.
You were using it yesterday.
Yeah, this is a I need my wife.
Pay attention.
This is a visual aid. This just use this as a visual aid. That the spirit man inside that earth suit is pretty disgusting and looks very much like what is commonly referred to as grays. Thank you.